The U.S. confirmed that the North Koreans successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile that is capable of striking the U.S. A Twin Cities woman has founded a nonprofit to try and help the tens of thousands of refugees who try to escape North Korea each year. As a toddler in the 50s, Hyon Kim was separated from her family in North Korea. She was adopted by a relative in the South and came to Minnesota in the 1970s. In 1990, she was allowed to go back to North Korea, where she learned her father had been killed in a purge of intellectuals. She did reunite briefly with her mother and her brothers. She has not seen them since. And it is an honor to have Hyon Kim, the founder of Freedom for North Korean Refugees, Minnesota, with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Let me ask you, I know that you have, your mother passed away, your father was executed. You have at least two brothers who are still alive in North Korea. Are you able to communicate to them?
No.
And when was the last time you heard from them?
Well, actually, through North Korean refugees in South Korea, they told me about my families who died and who live.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
So I have not talked to anyone of them since 1990.
And you were not alone. This is what millions of Koreans face.
Well, hundreds of thousands at least right now, because including North Korean refugees, that they're separated from their family, and they really cannot do anything about, seeing them.
We have a link on our website to your website that talks about really something that is completely, does not get talked about, and it's the plight of North Korean refugees who have escaped the North. Hundreds of thousands of them are in China. What are you asking the U.S. government and Minnesota elected officials to do?
Well, first of all, there are 300,000 North Korean refugees now as a stateless people in China. They're underground.
So they're in hiding in China.
They're hiding.
Because China, sometimes, if they find them in China, they'll send them back to North Korea.
Absolutely.
And what happens to them if they're sent back to North Korea?
Well, if they're sent back to North Korea, then either they go through torture, so that really, just like poor, Otto Wambia, they die or they escape again. But it's just a horrible situation they go through.
And you mentioned Otto Warmbier.
Oh my gosh,
you were personally deeply moved by the plight of this young American.
I cried. I really feel so sorry for him, as well as his parents, because it's really not right how they treated him and then how they actually killed him.
Is there room for the U.S. to pressure China to take a different attitude toward these North Korean refugees?
Well, actually, our organization now, we are going to, we're going to have a retreat in July 22nd, and what our mission is, we wanted to tell our delegates of Minnesota, wonderful Senator, Gorbachev and Keith Ellison and all, we have great people, and we're going to ask them to talk to State Department to tell China, please do not send these poor North Korean refugees back to North Korea. Furthermore, there are 300,000 North Korean refugees in China. I just wish that they recognize them as a refugee.
Right. And you obviously have been here for many years. You've been a successful businesswoman. You were even a former U of M regent. It must be difficult to reconcile that success that you've had here with the difficulties that your family obviously still have.
The irony is that my father was an intellect. He worked for Samsung, and I didn't forgive him until last year. Actually, he
fled to the North.
He went back. He went up to North, and then he just ruined our family, and they killed him. So for me, I'm so lucky. I got separated from my family, and then I'm here in USA, and I studied. I went to U of M, and I just did a lot of things here that my mother, as a Methodist minister and school teacher, couldn't do and died. So it's kind of like I'm celebrating my life here for my family too.
All right. Well, again, we do have a link to your website. It has some videos that are really heartbreaking to look at about the kinds of separations that these families endure. And we certainly appreciate your work. And thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Kim.